Okay, today I'm going to talk about the Pentax 6.7, but before I do, I'm excited. I've got a couple of packages in the post, so I just want to open it out and show you what I've got. So this is something I've been after for my collection for a little while now. I'm just hoping it's as nice as it looked on the eBay auction. That should give it away. Rolly. This one's going to be for my collection. And this is the Rolly. Looks pretty nice. Excited to test it and run a roll through it. Also, I picked up an Olympus 35 RD. Unfortunately, this is one that suffers with the sticky aperture blades, so unfortunately I can't get it to fire, so this one's going to have to go off for a service. But nice little camera and quite a good price, so looking forward to testing both those. So I apologise if this video is a bit all over the place. I've been trying to make a video now for the last couple of weeks, but there's been a few things that have got in the way and hampered me. One of them, my parents have both been quite ill. My father having to have an operation and my mum having to have a spinal injection, so I've been ferrying them to and from the hospital. So yeah, that's not been ideal or great. Luckily both of them seem to be on the mend now. And the second thing is, I've actually, with my parents being a bit ill, I've come to the conclusion of my own realisation as well, being 45 next year, that I need to do something. I've been training now for 10 years with no goals in mind. So I'm actually going to be doing or competing in an amateur strongman. So for the last week, or the last 2 weeks actually, I've been upping my training intensity, and so that's another thing. I'm absolutely dog tired to the core. So the thought of making some of these videos has been yeah but I need to get on it, do some more. So yeah, this video is going to be a bit all over the place because I've been, as I say, I've been trying to do this video for a few weeks, been doing bits and pieces here and there, so you'll see it flitting from different shoots. It started out, I went and photographed an old house, then I went out to a location in the Peak District, UK. Unfortunately the camera didn't work then I had a model shoot and the camera didn't work then either. So well, actually the model shoot was before the roaches, so yeah. So then just recently I've been out a couple of times to test the camera and subsequently found out it's a battery issue, which is great. So yeah, I'm going to talk about the Pentax 6.7. I'm going to show some of the images from the various shoots, so you'll see me in different outfits and different days and things. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a mishmash, but hopefully you guys will get the idea. And yeah, so let's crack on. So yeah, I must apologise for the wind noise in the last video. Didn't realise with the G7X not having an external mic how bad the wind noise would actually be. So yeah, apologies about that one. But unfortunately there's nothing I could have done, and I didn't know at the time. But now I know about this, it's something I can allow for. So as film photographers, we've got an amazing array of cameras to choose from. The history, the different model types, the different format types, it's absolutely amazing the level of choice we have. I was introduced to medium format photography. I actually borrowed my friend's Mamiya 645 AF. That was my first ever foray into medium format. It was a great camera, autofocus, very strange because it only had a single focus point in the center, so it was a bit different to get used to from digital. But yeah, and also never having loaded a medium format film before, it was quite a challenge. I actually had to use good old YouTube to learn how to load films, because I put 2 films in and I loaded them backwards, so when it was trying to auto forward to the next roll, the film was getting really tight, and yeah, so I wasted 2 rolls of Kodak Portra 160, so that's £10 down the drain, but it was a learning curve. So yeah, medium format photography has been something that I've wanted to get into for a little while. So I borrowed, like I say, the Mamiya 645 AF. If I could have afforded that camera, that's one that I probably would have bought and I might buy in the future. After that, I got a Mamiya 645 Super, the one with the waist level finder. 1 minute, I'll go get it. So after the Auto 645 AF, this was my first camera that I bought, which is a Mamiya 645 Super with the waist level finder. This is a sweet little camera. I find it quite difficult to view through the waist level finder handheld, so on a tripod it renders some nice images. I might include a couple of these images from a motor show here called Auto Corona that I went to. But yeah, so the waist level finder for me is really strange, and again on the TLRs it's something that I find really awkward to use, and maybe that's just me because I've come from digital as opposed to shooting from film from the start. So when I was researching medium format cameras, a couple of things kind of like to look out for was the fact of something in ease of use and shutter speed. Most medium format cameras seem to only go to like 1/400th or 1/500th of a second. The 645s tend to shoot a bit faster, they go to like 1,000th of a second. So that was something that kind of like interested me as well. Then on the forums I saw and read quite a few things positive about the Pentax. So when one came up on eBay, I jumped at the chance because it was in pristine condition, and this is the beauty. It's the one with the metered prism and the now famous and amazing 105 2.4f lens. So I'm coming across the thing that I want to photograph, just this building here. This is something I've driven past for years and wanted to photograph it but never have. So today I've come out and I'm going to do it. So for me, this was a great intro into medium format, purely because of it's an SLR type camera, so it's something that I could pick up and just shoot with straight off the bat. This also has a shutter speed of 1/1000th of a second, so again on a 6.7 that is a great bonus. I even wish that you could get a bit faster, because when I was on holiday in the UK last year, there was a time when I really wanted to go down to 2.4 to photograph the wild ponies, but unfortunately the sun was so bright that even at 1/1000th of a second I was still having to shoot around 7.1 or f8. So you know, sometimes it'd be even better if we could shoot faster on the medium format, but it is what it is, and you have to find ways around this. So again, I alluded to a couple of the issues that I had with the Pentax 6.7 just recently, and that turned out to be a battery issue. With this camera, even though a lot of it is mechanical, it still needs a battery to run, and I'd had a battery for a while, and unfortunately it must have just been coming to the end of its life. So on the model shoot I had, it shot perfectly fine. I thought there was nothing wrong with it, but then developing the film, only 2 of the 10 exposures came out, which was a bit disheartening, and you know, again I was a bit worried that the camera didn't work. So I then went out to a local spot in Derbyshire, and the camera just wouldn't fire. So I got a brand new battery in it, and it still wouldn't fire. So I've done 2 shoots recently and found out that a brand new battery seems to be okay, but also there is on this as well, I don't know if you can see, there is a positive and a minus, so you have to have the battery in the right way around. But I don't know if it's on every model, but it seems to be on this model specifically. This also, this retaining, or the battery holder, has to be in the right way as well, and that's something I didn't realise. So when I went out into the roaches, I had the battery in and I put it in, but this was in one way that I thought was right, but it turns out you have to turn it around and put it in another way. As far as I can see, there isn't any indicators to tell you you have to have it in a certain way, but maybe it's just this model, and that's how I got it to work at the end of the day. I really wish I'd have known that, because I might have been able to use it a bit earlier in the day. So one thing I do make sure I do now is every time I finish shooting with the camera, I take this out, leave the battery in the holder, and just put this in my case, so the camera doesn't have a battery in and it doesn't drain, and hopefully this will then last a bit longer. So for me, yeah, the Pentax 6.7 is absolutely amazing. The form factor, the weight of it isn't an issue. I think it's actually brilliant, because you do feel it's more of a substantial camera, and you don't seem to get any shake on the camera, even though this thing's got a shutter clap that will wake the death. It's absolutely amazing. As I mentioned in a previous video, it's definitely not a camera you'd want to use for street photography, or especially stealth street photography, because once this thing goes off, you know, every man and his dog for a mile knows you've shot. For me, it's a very bright viewfinder, and especially paired with this lens, it's absolutely amazing. The even just looking through the viewfinder looks amazing, and I find myself just looking through it just purely because it's just amazing. So this camera does take 120 or 220, but here in the UK 220 is now very hard to find. I don't think I've ever actually seen a roll of 220 here in the UK. You can change this by moving the pressure plate. Also, there's a switch on the side here which you turn to say whether you've got a 120 or 220 film in. I guess that adjusts the pressure on the plate for the film. But yeah, as I say, that's something that I've never come across in here. So the 120 is obviously all I can get hold of. I've now shot probably 6 or 7 rolls through this, and in the medium format terms, this is probably the one that I pick up. I really would like to try the Hasselblad 500 series, but at the moment, again here in the UK, the prices just seem to be going absolutely crazy. As I say, this one I got for a great price, so I'm really glad I picked it up when I did. Being a 6x7, this one shoots 10 frames per roll. To go along with this, I also have a 200 f4 lens. I haven't actually shot with this lens yet, so interested to see what that does. I did a couple of self-portraits, well, with the help of my friend Lee to help me focus, but again I'll show these, and what I wanted to do is see if this could create like a large format type look. Maybe this, because with the 105, the minimum focal distance is 1 meter. I'm not 100% sure what the minimum focal distance is with this. Oh, 2.5 meters. So this one is even further, but being a 200 as opposed to a 105, I guess it's pretty much similar. I've been told that I think it's the 165 lens does allow you to get a bit closer, and maybe will give me the portraits that I'm trying to create. But I do have a bit of a naughty secret. I just bought one of these. So yeah, there's a 4-week lead time on that, but yeah, really looking forward to getting into 4.5. Also, anyone that knows or seen my channel before, I have the Pentax 6.7 with the Polaroid back. That again is fantastic, and just a bit of a shame about Fuji not doing the FP100C anymore, because it's absolutely beautiful, and some of the images you get from that are fantastic. So yeah, one thing that I wanted to mention about with the Pentax 6.7, and again I'm not sure whether it's just me or whether everyone has these kind of like issues. It's not a major issue, but it's just something that is a bit strange, and that is the throw. So you can do a short throw or a full throw, and I don't know if that actually is what affects it, but I've noticed that on some negatives the frame gap is slightly different. So if you can see on this one, it's got a shorter frame gap, which again is not a major issue, but it's just something that I didn't know if it was a technical issue or whether it was actually because I did the full wind or a short wind. But this is a test roll that I shot just recently to see if the Pentax was working again, and glad to report all 10 frames came out. Again, I'll show these. So yeah, for those that are interested, this is the Pentax 6x7. This is the second one in the line. There was the Pentax 6x7 original, then this one is the one with what's called the mirror lockup, which allows you to put the mirror up so you don't get that slap when you take long exposures or like probably landscapes, I guess. People do say that you can't handheld this lower than like 1/30th or 1/60th, but to be honest I haven't had a major issue, whether that's just me being into my weight training or just getting on with this camera over the waist level finder cameras. But yeah, I've held this at 1/60th and I've had some reasonably great results. But yeah, I would actually quite like to try the Pentax 6.7 II after having tried this. With it being a film camera, there's not actually much physical difference because again with the film cameras all they are is a light box, so it's really the lens and the film that makes the difference. But ergonomics and a few added benefits with the Pentax 6.7 II, yeah, I'd be interested to have a try and maybe, you know, see someone who has one and maybe do a side-by-side comparison. But yeah, sometime in the future I'd quite like to try the 6.7 II. So yeah, the Pentax is a fantastic camera that I can't recommend highly enough. It is getting more popular and harder to find things on the used market that are pretty good value. It used to be a bit of a bargain, but now I think because of the popularity of other cameras and especially film at the moment, prices have just gone a bit crazy. I think with the popularity of things like the Mamiya 7 have definitely increased the prices of things, and the, I don't know how you pronounce it, but the Makina, Plauel Makina 6.7, that is just astronomically crazy price. I don't know what that's like to shoot. It would be amazing to actually have one and just test it. I would definitely recommend, if you can find one in a great condition or price, even a used one like this one's in a bit of a battered condition, but still works perfect and produces some absolutely amazing results. Again, I'm still learning, so I'm still learning the ins and outs of this camera, but so far it's been fantastic and is the medium format that I probably pick up most compared to things like the 645 Super, and I do have the TLRs, but yeah, so this is the one that I would recommend over those, purely for me, because as I say, it's an SLR type experience, so anyone who's shot a digital camera can pick this up and know exactly how to shoot it. The shutter speed dial is easy and bright, very clear. The wind on is very nice. The ISO dial is just a lift within the shutter speed ring, so you just lift this collar and just rotate. So again, but that really only affects the light meter. I don't normally use the light meter. I use a handheld light meter and just expose accordingly. And so far, fingers crossed, it's been a fantastic camera. A couple of glitches, but again, that seems to be a battery issue. So hopefully, fingers crossed again, this one's going to give me many years of a brilliant service. As I've mentioned with the 4x5, it would be quite nice to see what these two are like together, because I do think that the portraits that I did do have a bit of a large format feel to them, and they do say that the 105 lens does give that. If you look on, do a bit of a Google search on this camera and this lens combination, you will find some amazing bokeh in the background. So yeah, the rendering is absolutely amazing. Yeah, the other thing I forgot to mention is I got my print back from Dan at the photo parlour. It's absolutely stunning. yeah, when I went to pick it up, Dan was just finishing it off, and he was hand spotting it. So I'll show some of that footage in here. And this is something that I shot on the Pentax. This is the house shoot that I showed in the video. This negative was developed by myself at home in Ilford LC29. Yeah, so there's a few things that are a bit of an issue, but again, I guess it adds to the whole thing about film. I don't know if you can see in this corner, just there. Focus, hello, focus. Right, yeah, there is this like almost wavy line, and I think from what Dan was saying, that is to do with the negatives. I'm not sure whether the negatives need rewashing or whether that's actually developer on the negative. Something that I need to learn for future. I'm hoping that it just needs washing and that I haven't messed up with my agitation. So I've actually, on the latest films, I've tried a different agitation, trying not to be so violent and actually turning it full more of a rotation. So hopefully that'll make a bit of a difference, but it's all a learning curve. And I'm also glad that I've booked onto a darkroom course with Dan at the photo parlour. So that is going to be another video that I do. Hopefully it'll let me do a bit of behind the scenes of learning the darkroom procedure. But yeah, so looking forward to doing that, and I can make some more prints of my own stuff to hang on the walls, which would be awesome. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope this video wasn't too all over the place, and as I say, because of my weight training, I'm feeling a bit dog tired at the moment, so probably my energy is a bit low. And yeah, I'm really glad that my parents are both on the mend. So oh, as a side note, I forgot to mention, I redid the test with colour film and developing black and white chemicals, and I'm glad to report that I did actually get some pictures this time. I think the issue was probably with, it was an old Lomo LC camera and a very old film that I've been told doesn't give great results anyway. So this roll of film was with Agfa Vista 200 and shot in the Nikon FM2N. So I'll add some of these. They're developed in Ilford LC29 at a 1:19 dilution. But yeah, so just a bonus that they came out, something I wanted to just have a go and practice and just see if you can do it. I'm into different techniques and want to learn more. My next video is going to be about a new kit I've bought to do some kind of printing, so yeah, look out for that. And see you soon.